Okay. So this is the place where you create a new application. Now, you see the screen, right? Create new application and DCO. Okay. Sorry. You see the screen, right? Create new application. Okay. So this is a wizard where you create a new application in Pega. And this particular tool is called as DCO, which means direct capture of objectives. Okay. So what is direct capture of objectives? Direct capture of objectives means gathering your business requirements. Okay. So like whenever you say like why Pega for your project, there is one good reason like why do we go for Pega. In most of the traditional approaches, the requirements gathering is done in some other tool and development is done in some other tool. Okay. So there is a huge gap. Like the requirements gathering was done in a tool by the BA and development is done by the developer in another tool. So there's a huge gap between like what is expected and what is delivered. In order to avoid that, excuse me, in Pega, we make the requirements gathering and we develop the product in the same tool. So the gap between these things is reduced completely because I have my flow diagrams in front of me when the requirements gathering was completed. So when I'm doing my development, I have the flow in front of me which was designed by the BA during its direct capture in DCO. Okay. So the gap between this requirements gathering and development is reduced when I do both the things in the same tool. Okay. So I'm running my DCO wizard or the DCO tool where I gather my business requirements which are converted into finished applications by Pega. So after you complete this wizard, Pega will give you a partially finished application based on the requirements and the configurations you have provided in this wizard. So let's see how does it do it. So you can select type of application, enterprise application or express application. Enterprise application means you will have the class structure, organization, division, framework and implementation layers. Express application means you're just trying to build a quick application to give a demo to the client. Via demo or blueprint, you just want to show some features or you want to test some features. Quick applications we build using express applications. In enterprise one, you'll have the proper structure, like all the 4 layers, organizations, operators, access groups, everything will be created by Pega with a proper structure and format. Okay? So we are going to build an enterprise application and you are running the DCO. Okay, that's a wizard which is used to create a new application in Pega. Go ahead, click on create your application. Okay, so now here you have 4 screens or you can say 4 stages. Application settings, business objectives, case types and data types. Okay, so in the earlier versions of Pega, we used to have DCO, which is quite different from the screens that I've seen today. So in the earlier versions of Pega, our DCO used to hold like I remember around like 8 tabs. 8 tabs or 8 screens you can say. Like we used to have actually 3 different tools for DCO. Application profiler, application accelerator. We used to have like this. Application profiler, application explorer, and application express. Okay. So we used to have 3 different tools in Pega: profiler, accelerator, and express. Profiler was purely used by the business analyst to gather the requirements. So in profiler, the BA used to draw the visual diagrams. He used to gather all the basic requirements about the project. Okay, like why we need to build this project, what is the main objective of it, like who are the industrial work parties in it, at what areas we are going to send reports, to what areas we are going to send correspondence like emails, mails, events, facts. So all this theoretical information used to be collected by the BA in the profiler. Then when we come to Explorer, it was purely used by a lead system architect. I mean, the developers used to work on it. And here, the LSA person used to build the architecture of the application. Means he used to tell us all the 4 layers, like organization, division, framework, and implementation layers, the class structure, the parent and child classes, everything used to be defined by the LSA and the Explorer. So after I complete these two, we used to have a new application with operator IDs, access groups and everything. Then we used to replicate the operator IDs for all the users. They used to log in and develop the application. Okay. And Express was always used to build an instant application just to give a demo to the client. Okay. Second. To close that. Second. Okay. Okay, let me explain Profiler again. Somebody has a doubt. So Profiler was used by the business analyst. So you can say by the non-technical person to gather the business requirements. Like in this Profiler, the main thing that we do is building the visual diagram or building the flow diagram of your application. Okay? That's the main thing we do it in a Profiler. Whereas in, it's not Explorer, it's Accelerator. Okay? Application Profiler, Accelerator and Express. Express was like all technical stuff. This is like not all non-technical stuff. After this, you'll get your entire application. So the main thing over here is building the flows. Apart from this, we used to tell like what reports, what emails, mails, SMS and fax, what is the main objective of this application, what is the current scenario. So there are like many things, many non-technical things we used to capture here. And this is like all pure technical stuff. And once the end of this, you'll get your application ready. That is how we used to build applications in Pega 6.x version. Express was the same thing, just to build an instant application and give a demo to a client or something like that. Okay? Then, but today, we have only one thing. I mean, like you don't have Profilers, Accelerators. You only have one single DCO. So in this, you have 4 stages. After you fill this information, your new application is ready. Okay, that's simple it is. So earlier it was like Profiler like around 8 tabs and Accelerator around 8 tabs. So 8 plus 8, 16 tabs you need to complete to build an application. Now it's so simple, it's just only 4 tabs or 4 stages and you're done with creating a new application with some basic configuration. Okay, and do remember one thing guys, DCO is executed only at the beginning of your project. Okay, like every time you get a new requirement or a bug fix, we don't execute DCO. Okay, because I heard such questions, so I'm just trying to clarify you. Only at the beginning of my project, when I want to define my application name, my application structure, the various classes in it, the various data tables in it, I do it. Okay, but later, if I want to add a class, I can do it in my portal. If I want to add a new data table, I can do it in my portal. We are not going to run the DCO again. DCO is executed only once for an application. This is to create a new application architecture. Okay. So now, let's start building the application. So I'm in application settings. I have to give my application name and the various layers. So my application name is, okay, let me name it as time off. Okay. Is it parallel process for development? No, it's not a parallel process because until and unless you complete a DCO, you don't have an application itself. Then we can't make development, right? So we need an application to do the development. So this DCO is used to create a new application in Pega. Only after this, the development starts. Okay. Please keep the application name as time off. Okay. Now, built-on application. What is built-on application? So, you're building your application on which application? So, it is mandatory to specify an application here. The reason is, you're building an application on a tool called as Pega or a product called as Pega, right? So, you have to say either you're building it on Pega rules application or any of your existing applications. I have MMT, I have eBank, I have something, right? So you can either build it on any of your existing applications or Pega's default application. So I choose Pega's default because I am not doing any enhancement to my existing project. Now, you're going to select whether you want to build a framework or implementation of both the layers for your application. So as you remember, like every application will have 4 layers: organization, division, framework, and implementation. So I told you, yeah, you can only choose framework, okay, and you can build a framework application. So framework application is an application which contains all the reusable components. Let's say, for example, I'm working for Bank of America, okay, we have so many banking projects. So I felt that, okay, there's at least 60% of common code in all the applications. So instead of building it multiple times, why don't we build a framework application? And whenever a new application comes, first I'll install the framework, then I'll build my application upon the framework. That 60% of the coding work I can reduce, right, for all my upcoming projects. So you can say framework only and you can build a framework application. Or you can say implementation only, then you mean that you're building only implementation, you don't want framework at all. Or the other way is, you have already installed framework, and now you want to only enhance it. So implementation only. Then both framework and implementation. So maybe you can go for both framework and implementation. Okay? Now, what's your organization name? For which organization you're building? Who is your client? You can take for which organization? Let's take you a, it's your organization name, like the client organization name. It's not your organization, client organization. Okay, I just took BOA as your choice. Let's take BOA guys because I want everybody to be in sync. Okay, because you're new to the application, please try not to use some new terminologies other than what I use. Tomorrow if I say, hey, select BOA class, you will get confused because you don't find BOA in your screen. Okay, so just try to maintain the sync. Please give whatever I am giving. Okay. Now you can go to configure advanced settings. Okay, here you can see like what's the application name you're building. So whatever you have provided, you will see here. And here comes the organization settings. Organization name is BOA. You didn't give anything for div and unit. Okay, so if you give it, you will get 2 more layers, divisional layer and 1 more additional layer. Okay, so if you don't give it, that's fine, not a problem. Okay, so this is your class structure of your implementation layer and this is your framework layer. So if you see your class structure in Pega is a combination of your organization name, your application name and Pega's default class group. Okay, so my organization name is BOA and my application name is timer and Pega's default work. You remember I was telling you like attribute base class is the parent of all the classes in Pega, below which we have work, data, int, rule, and we were saying like anything which inherits from rule dash is called as rule in Pega. Okay. Similarly, we had work, right? That work I am using here. So, if you observe, the only difference between an implementation and framework is the word SW. You see BOA, Application work. The only difference is if you find the word FW, it indicates it's a framework layer, and without that, it's an implementation layer. Okay. I didn't make any changes over here. Okay, I didn't make any changes. And just click on the next. Here you're going to specify the business objective. Means what are the requirements of this project? Why am I developing it? What are the overhead with the existing process? Like maybe you're doing manually, maybe there are so many errors because it's a manual processing. Maybe it's time consuming. Okay? Whatever, like what is the business objective, you can do it here. Okay. So I'm just saying like I want to automate the manual process. And I'm saying like to reduce the delay in approval, leave approvals I mean. Like whatever you want to write, you can just write down because it's like the business reasons. Now, moving on to the case type. So case types and data types. Case types means classes. So what are the classes that you want for your application? Like Pega is an application which is built on Java, right? So, like just like how Java has its own classes, methods, and functions, similarly, you want to have your own classes, methods, and functions, right? So, whenever you build an application, you have to tell what are the various classes for your application. Okay? And remember, it's not necessary to mention all the classes over here. Maybe tomorrow I want to add some more classes. Yes, you can do it in your application designer studio portal. You need not come back, run the wizard and do something, okay? This wizard is run only once for every application. Only once for one application. Okay? So at this point of time, based on the requirements that I have and based on the knowledge that I have, whatever cases I think I'll have, I'll give here. Okay? But tomorrow if I want to add more, I can do it in my designer studio. Okay? So I'll just give only one call as leave. One class. I'm just giving only one class called as leave. Okay? If somebody has a question, can I change the business objectives after they are created? Like actually they're not documented anywhere. So yes, you can change, there's no point of changing them usually. What happens after you capture all this information, you have a new application, you can generate the requirement document of your application. So in the document, you will find this objective. So if you want to change it, yeah, you can change it in the document. Okay. So I have given my class name as lead. Now go ahead. Data types means the various data tables you have in Pega. Okay. So at this point of time, maybe you can create a new table called as leave balances. I just created a new table called as leave balance. Now, so here also you see the option like, do you want to create this data table in organization, enterprise means ORG layer, organization or framework or implementation layer. So it's your choice, like whether you want to build it, you can build it and just say create. Okay, before you say create, you can go to preview and you can see, like after you complete this result, what are the various rules that are going to get created. So you get 3 layers, organization, framework and implementation. Because you didn't give divisional, you don't have divisional layer. So in organization layer, you have work class, means Pega's work class, where you put all the business rules. Pega's data class, where you put all the data tables. And integrations, like SOAP, plus and all integration. So every class will have all the 3. So this is my work class name, framework class name. Okay. This is my data class name. This is my int class name. Int means for integration. And so on. Okay, you can just look at it. And you can see the operator IDs. So this is default operator IDs. It is giving you one admin, one developer, one manager, one user. Okay. Access groups. Okay. Access roles. Work groups, work baskets. I'll tell you these things. Work group is nothing but a DL, I told you, right? Like it's just a group name where you hold all the email IDs of the particular group. It's like how you have this DLs in Office. Same way. Okay? So you can see everything. You have access group for administrators, you have for developers, you have for managers, you have for users. Everything you see two times, right? One is framework layer ka access group, another one is implementation. Okay, you see FW, it's framework layer access group. You don't see FW, it's implementation layer access group. Okay, so these are things that are going to get created when you click on create. Just say create. A new application with all the operators, access groups, classes, data tables will be created. Okay, so this is the 4 default operator IDs we have, and this is the password. Okay, hope your results are completed. Do let me know if not. Not all the features are limited, Giri. Like the thing is, like you can't integrate with multiple applications in your personal edition. You can do only one integration. Similarly, multiple database connections are not allowed from your personal edition. There are some things like that, but not like not all the features are hidden. Some things are not there. And if you go with an enterprise application, you can use Pega's other tools also. Like you can use Pega Bix, you can use Pega chatting tool, you can use Pega's framework. Those things you can't integrate when it is a personal edition. But for learning wise, it's fair enough. Okay. So you have this user ID and your password, right? So you can log in as admin because you're the only person in your project. So better take admin role. Admin at BOA and rules is my password. So this is the credentials that you need to log in every day. Okay. Please note down your credentials somewhere. Admin at BOA and no .coms, right? Remember there's no .com. Okay, rules. So let's say log off. Log in with your new credentials. Username is not case sensitive. You give capitals, you give small, it's fine. Password is case sensitive. Okay. Okay. So you see this is a new application. Okay. On the top left, you see this application menu, right? You see a name over there as time off. So this indicates my application name is time off. Okay. So whenever you look at somebody's application, you should look at the top left to know their application name. So my application name is time off. Okay. And this is my operator ID. So operator, you see my operator ID. This is the place I can change my password. I can change my first name, last name, full name. Okay. Maybe you can give your full name as, okay, your name. And this is the two access groups that we have. And this is your email ID. You are working for BOA, Div and UNit. And this is the default work group. Your time zone, you want to change your time zone, you can change it. Okay. You want to change your password, you can click on update password. So this is your operator ID. Okay. So if you want to access another application, you can add another access group. Okay. That's all. And application is rule in Pega. If you want to open application rule, open application. So it's just a collection of rule sets. Okay. So these are the various rule sets that Pega by default has given to us. Okay. And if you want to create a new rule set, you can create it, but make sure you add it over here. Okay. Otherwise, your application can't access it. So this is the various rules that my application holds. Okay. So your application is Time-Off, which is built on a framework application. So you're currently in your implementation application, which is built on framework. Let me open the framework. Again, it has some rules. It's built on Pega's default Pega rules. Okay. End of the day, your application has to be built on Pega rules. Okay. So Pega rules, and this is my application. Okay. How to see my operator name? Here you can see the current operator. If you want to see all the operators, you have to go to Records Explorer. Okay. Organization category, operator ID. You will find all the operators. Similarly, what if I want to see all the access group? Security, access group. Okay. What if I want to see all the application? Application ID. So Records Explorer is the place where you can see all this rules as well as data instances grouped by type. See, operators and all these things are not rules. So you can't find them in App Explorer. App Explorer means you'll have a class and the rules under them. But operator ID is not a rule, it's a data instance. So you can only find it under Records Explorer. Similarly, application, access groups, access roles, privileges, all those things are not rules. Okay, they are not something that execute. So such things you can only find under your Records Explorer. Okay. So under App Explorer, you'll find your class and the rules under it. So this is one class. The leaf icon indicates it's a class. And there's another child below it, which has some rules under it. Like, okay. So this is implementation. But if you erase this, you'll find many classes here. Organization data class. Why am I saying it's organization? Because I see only BOA. BOA is my organization layer. So only BOA means it's organization layer. FW is there means framework layer. Without FW, if you see organization plus application name, it's implementation layer. With FW, if you see organization and application name, it's framework layer. Okay. So all these are framework layer, implementation layer classes. All these are framework layer classes. This is organization layer classes. Okay. So you got a clarity of like what a layer in Pega is, right? A layer is nothing but a class. ORG layer means a class. And BOA int is a class. BOA timeout is a class. All the classes. Framework layer means all of the framework layers. Nothing but classes. Okay. Again, back to my implementation layer class. Okay. Then data explorer. The data tables that I have created will be over here. And remember, I was speaking about block tables and RDB tables. So tables which are created from Pega, we call them as block tables because they don't have exposed columns. We'll get back to the concept in depth in the later classes. But you see, it is one table called as leave balance. Then we have cases explorer where you can see the various case types of your application. Means the various classes. So we haven't defined anything, so it's empty. We'll do it. Okay, done. So this is about your new application details. Now let's start building the flow of the application. As you remember, Pega is a BPM tool. Okay, so it's a BPM product. Just give me a second, guys. Okay. So as Pega is a BPM product, we are completely driven by the flows in Pega. So my flow becomes the heart of my application. Okay. So in Pega, so you first design your flows. After designing the flows, then you start adding the UI, the validation, and all that stuff to the flows. So when the end user creates a new case or a new work object in an application, it is the flow that triggers first, and on the flow, the end user will be navigating. So the end user is the first screen of the flow. Yeah, he will see something which is configured on the first shape of the flow. The end user moves to the next shape in the flow. He will see something that is configured on the next shape of the flow. So the end user is navigating on the flows, and whatever you configure on the flow is what he experiences on the screen. Okay. The first thing that we are going to do is designing the stages of your application. So everybody please come to Cases Explorer. Okay, and click on this leave and come to the second tab, lifecycle. Okay, now click on App Stages. Okay, So this is something new that we had in Pega 7. So in Pega 7, instead of just building the flows, first we build the stages, and every stage will have the couple of or the number of flows under it. Like stage is nothing but a business process. Give me a second, guys. I have some relatives at my home and there's some disturbance. Okay, fine. Okay, so you have a couple of stages. Okay, so every stage is just a collection of business flows. So how do we used to do in earlier days? So in earlier days, we used to just keep on building flows. So I'll build one flow, then I'll build another flow. I'll make the first flow as the parent of the second. The second flow will call another flow. That calls another flow. So that's how we used to have like one flow calling another and another and another. But now in Pega 7, what we are doing is, we are grouping the flows and we are creating them as stages. So what will I say is like, let's say, take a leave application. Okay. Maybe I can have multiple flows like registration one flow, login one flow, and applying leave is one flow. Then approvals is one flow and confirmation is one flow. Okay. So what will I do is like all the registration, login, and applying leave, I'll put that one stage. Then approvals, rejection, I'll put it as another stage. Confirmation, another stage. So a stage defines a part of your subflow. So you can say a part of your business process. So under that stage, I can have all the subflows which actually serve the purpose of your stage. So whenever a new user logs into my application, looking at the stage itself, they can understand at a high level what is the application end-to-end business flow. But in earlier days, what used to happen, you have to open each and every child flow, and from the starting till the end, you have to see to understand what is the business process. Okay? But with stages, you can get a better understanding of the application, and the development is also like much flexible. You will see how it is different. We'll do it now, then you'll get a chance to understand. Okay, first I'm defining my stages. The stage is a collection of business processes. Okay, so I have to divide my application into multiple stages. You remember, like all the time, business people talk in the terms of stages. Business people is business analysts. Okay, the talk in the terms of stages. Okay, the user is in confirmation stage. User is in application stage. Something like that. So, just to think of with that terminology, we have the concept of stages in Pega. So, I feel like the first stage is leave application. I mean, the guy will be applying a leave. So, whether he does a registration or he does a login or whatever he does, I don't care. At a high level, I'll call it as leave application stage. Okay, or apply leave, something else, your choice. Okay, so it's in the apply leave stage. Then the second stage would be approval. Means it will go to the manager for approval. The manager might approve or reject, I don't care. But the whole thing I call it as approval. Then the third thing is notification. Notification is either you notify him via mail, via SMS, whatever it is. At the end of the day, I call it as notification stage. So you can create any number of stages like that. Okay. Just create your stages. Okay. So stages represent where a case is at any time during its process of life cycle from creation to resolution. Means from the creation of a case to the end of the case, like where a particular work object is defined in a stages. Okay. But basically at a high level, a stage is nothing but a collection of flows. And it's a part of your business process. So the end-to-end business process, applying a leave. But apply leave is a small part of this flow. Approval is a small part of this process. Notification is a small part of it. The stage is nothing but it's a collection of flows, and it's a small part of your business process. Okay? And each stage will help you in progressing your case. Okay? So moving from one point to another point in your case, the stages are helpful. Okay? They can help you in gathering the information from the user, sending emails, like saving some data into the database. So you can do everything during this stages. Okay? We also have something called as alternate stages. So stages, how do they execute? So once the user logs in into the application, So you will enter into apply leave stage. Whatever flows, validations, QR, whatever you give here, you will execute all that. Once he's done with apply leave, he'll move to approval. Done with approval, he'll go to notification. Let's assume that there's a different path sometimes. If the approval is successful, you'll go to notification. What if the approval is like, let's say the user rejected it. Okay? Maybe you want to go for a separate stage. Because when he rejected it, I want to take a different flow. I don't want to take this. Okay? So you can have alternate stages. Alternate stage is a stage which is not the happy part. Means it is not the actual real part that executes all the time. So in rare scenarios, like whenever the leave is rejected or something like that, you go to the alternate stages. Okay? So it's an alternative path, not a sequence path. So this is a sequence or happy path. Alternate is like not every time. Sometimes it happens. Some you want to jump from this to the alternate. Okay? You can jump from one stage to other. I'll teach you later. So you can add alternate stages like this. Configure alternate stage. You can give the stage name. Okay, maybe you can give here a rejected. Okay, so whenever the leave is rejected, the person will jump from here to here. Instead of going to rejected notification. So this is an alternate stage. You can save it. Please save your changes. Okay. Now, just click on this got it, otherwise it's select. Okay. So now whenever you click on each stage, you will see some options over here. Okay. So let's discuss about each one of them. Automatically move to the next stage, wait for the user action, resolve the case. So it should be automatically. So whenever you complete a case, whenever you complete a stage, you have to go to the next one. So how do you want to go? Like, do you want Pega to automatically move you to the next stage? Or do you want the user to select? Or do you want to resolve the cases at the end, the last stage in the application? Huh? Usually until the last stage, we don't choose resolve. Resolve means at the end. We don't choose resolve until it's the last stage, okay? So automatically move to next stage means like once you complete the last stage and this, automatically the next stage starts. So you usually prefer automatically move to next stage. Okay? So just check the configuration for everyone. You automatically move to next stage. And for last one, notification, you give resolve the case. Okay? So 1 and 2, you give automatically move to next stage. The last one, resolve the case. So you see a red line here indicating it's the last stage of your application. Then you see SLA over here. SLA means service level agreement, which is nothing but giving a goal and deadline to your particular screen or particular flow. You can give some goals and deadlines. So if you define the SLA here, let's say like 2 days or something, so the user who enters into the stage should complete the stage within 2 days. So maybe you get 30 minutes. The whole stage is to complete within 30 minutes. So what if I don't complete? In the SLA rule, you specify all the escalation activities. So I'll just open some SLA existing rule. Okay. So here we'll specify the goal type, days, hours, minutes, and seconds, and what is the action you want to take if the user does not complete in that particular time. You can call another flow. You can notify send a mail to him. Maybe you can send a mail to his manager. You can transfer it to some other person or call any of the business rules. Okay. This is goal time. So once the goal is completed, your deadline will start. Then pass the deadline. We'll get in depth of SLAs once you reach the topic. Okay. Just at a high level, SLA is nothing but putting goals and deadlines. In user actions, if you want to give any optional things to him, like let's say for example, you have an optional thing here, right? You can refresh, you can get help, you have some optional actions here. So similarly, if you want to give some optional actions to the user, you can configure optional process or optional local action. Optional process means Whenever the user clicks like this, a flow will launch and you will have multiple screens. Local action means one single screen will launch. Okay? So this is optional, like you will get it over here like this in the case type room. Then validation. So you can put some validation rules here. So whenever the user is entering into the stage, you will set the validation. Okay. So you can give your validation over here. Same configurations every stage will have. So this is stage configuration. You also have an option called skip stage when. Means you can give a when rule. If the when rule is false, you can skip the stage. Means from stage 1 to stage 3 you can jump. If this is false, if the when rule is false, you can jump. Okay. So this is the various stage configuration. In the document that I am going to provide you, you will see all these options. Okay. So you can go through them and let me know if you have any more queries. So this is a high-level introduction of stages. We'll work in depth on stages tomorrow. Okay. Have a look at the screens, look at the options, and let me know if you have any queries. Okay. Somebody has a question about user action. User action is nothing but whenever the user creates a case from your application, you want to give him some optional actions. Maybe you want to give him something called as change password, update profile, edit phone number, something like that. If you want to give some optional things, you can give it like this. What do you mean the operator screen, Dipti? Do you mean the end user screen? Okay. So the end user screen you can see only after you complete creating your stages and flows. So when you click like this, you will see the end user screen. From create, I launched. Okay, create new, your case type will come. Create new leave, then you can see the end user screen. But end user screen will come only after you complete your stages and flows and the UI part. Nothing is defined, right? So nothing is coming. Or you can also see end user portal from your launch user. So that shows the end user portal, but you can't create cases yet. Okay? So you can launch user portal like this. You can launch it, but you can't create cases. Okay? And it is flow actions. Local actions are nothing but flow actions only. So Giri was asking, like, is this local action same as flow action? Yes, it is flow action only. Guys, you are not aware of flow action, so you can ignore this. Okay. Any more questions? Okay, guys, then see you tomorrow. And one more thing, please log in into PDN, register yourself and log in into PDN. I'll send you a mail with screenshots like which courses you need to enroll and what you need to study to start preparing. Okay? Okay. So tomorrow we are going to build the flows for this application, and if time permits, we'll start building the UI as well. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. Have a nice day. Bye bye.